I've noticed that a lot of the zeitgeist people may or may not be spiritually based people, but they still have a feeling of positiveness and optimism towards the future. And I think this comes from a faith in technology and its ability to solve human problems. I still feel that some of these problems, I have trouble foreseeing the solutions to these things. So I wonder if any of you guys would like to talk about some of these things that I seem to not know anything about, like what are we going to do about energy? I don't really know about this free energy thing. It sounds like crackpot science to me. So you guys want to comment about that? And the other thing that concerns me as a, shall we say, one of the limits on humanity is the population question.
Good question.
So you guys want to weigh in on that?
I've been doing a lot of thinking about population because I've watched that video about the exponential function several times, and it's amazing and impressive. But one thing you have to remember is third world countries usually have the highest reproductive rates. Civilized countries like the United States, because we're intelligent, we understand the effects of overpopulation. So an intelligent person will make better choices, let's put it that way. Also, okay, well then we get rid of money and people don't have to work, they don't have to do anything. They spend the rest of their life in front of the computer and they don't procreate. That's another solution. So, no, that's honest. That is the truth. Some people should not procreate, and those people will probably find themselves without a girlfriend, sit in front of a computer, and maybe get so obese they can't even get out of their house. That's just like if you legalize drugs. You're going to have people with drug problems, but which is the lesser of two evils? If you allow people to sit around and become gluttons, that's their own problem. It doesn't have to be your problem. If somebody wants to be a glutton and get so big they can't get out of their house, then they stay in their house. Yeah, well, I've thought of all kinds of solutions. The other one is intelligent. You know, I'm 41 years old. I have a 4-year-old son. And so that means I was in my 30s before I finally did have one. And some of it was by choice, some of it was just by circumstance. But in reality, that's what I wanted. And I didn't want to have kids at a young age because I wanted to be able to stay at home and raise it and not have somebody else do it. So
Michael, if I may interrupt, I think one of the things that needs to be clarified here, and perhaps it's poor choice of words, but it's not necessarily the intelligence level of an individual in a different country, but rather the availability of that education in that type of an environment. If you look at some of the countries in Africa, for example, you'll see that they're in such turmoil that their environment has made it nearly impossible and certainly improbable that they are going to have an education that's going to be viable enough for them to do anything. Now, do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
I'm not sure that the current level of population is
Okay, well let me finish my point here because she has a valid point. And of course, this is one of the things that is addressed by the Venus Project, and I want to get this out before I forget because I'll go on to another subject. First of all, because of the way we use this planet today, everything you say is absolutely true. It is unsustainable because we are a population of consumers and wasters. Because of that, our planet has become less and less sustainable on an almost exponential level. The water we drink today, for the most part, we don't know what's in it. The food we eat, we don't know what's in it. I mean, if you can read what's in it, then you're probably not eating it. So, if we get past this value system of I need to make a profit off of this, screw everybody else, this Ayn Rand mentality, this Nietzschean thought process where if you're not good enough, I don't care if you live or die. And is that not the way it is today? Not with us, because we're the ones that are on the other side of that. We're the ones looking up saying, well, we care if we live or die. I care if my wife, my child, my grandchildren live or die. But hell yeah, this whole plan is sustainable based on scientific study and careful management of our Earth's resources. We can do this. There are abundant resources throughout this world. The only way you can disprove that is if you can show me the numbers. Now, I've done my studies. I've spent years and years looking into that. So today, it is not sustainable. That's why we're here. So that we can show people how it can be through permaculture, renewable energy, and most importantly, and this is something that most people forget to talk about, love. It's all about love. It's what this Jehoshua has been preaching all along. Now, before I go rambling on, I'm going to pass this on to whoever wants to listen.
You were asking how are we going to handle the population?
Well, that's just what I wanted to chime in on. Yeah, on the energy issue. Yeah, we can do it again here in a second. But yeah, on the energy issue, even when you completely ignore the over-unity and the free energy research going on right now, the renewable energy that's already out there being used, the only reason we cannot provide enough energy for 5 times the current Earth's consumption with the current technologies is the cost factor. It's too expensive to build that many solar panels. It's too expensive to build that many wind turbines. It's too expensive to drill that many geothermal wells. It's all cost. If it wasn't for the cost, we would have no worries about this kind of energy.
Well, it would also be hard to charge as much if it was abundant.
That's just it. You can't put a price tag on it.
So they're keeping the supply down. We probably could do better, but it's not affordable.
But yeah, the energy thing is, the only issue with energy is cost. And with the population situation, one thing I'd like to say, I've lived in the southeast of this country. The population problem isn't excluded from this country. There are people down there who just have 60 kids, it seems like, in some places. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it is an education issue. It's not necessarily an intelligence thing. It is an education issue. In places in Africa, you have to have 12 kids because only 4 of them are going to survive to adulthood in some places. But it perpetuates, and the thing that needs to be done is education.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is when. I was just going to say, I think with enough education, people, intelligent people, wise people, they'll make the right choices. Accidents happen, we understand that. There's nothing wrong with abortion. There's nothing wrong with birth control. There's nothing wrong with things happening. I don't want to say there's nothing wrong because that's a bold statement, but for anybody that hasn't watched that video that I brought in called The Exponential Function, it's actually called, the actual name is The Most Important Video You'll Ever Watch. It's one of the things he hits upon, and he does a column of things that help control population and things that help perpetuate population. And a lot of nasty things are in the control population side. Disease, war, famine, birth control, abstinence, all those things. So basically, yeah, we need to choose from that bad column. And so if you haven't watched the video, you really should. It's very, very important. And the top 3 that he listed there are ones I just talked about: abstinence, birth control, and abortion. And we got to stop making them bad because population is a serious issue. And unless we do start doing something about it, we have problems. So I think the current population we have, I don't see it as a problem. The current growth that we have is a problem.